Welcome to today's explainer. So, you're learning Italian, right? And I bet you felt pretty confident right up until the exact moment you need to talk about yesterday. You know, the Italian past tense is kind of infamous for tripping up learners. But today, we are going to completely demystify its absolute biggest hurdle, choosing between essere and avere. We're going to systematically break this down so you never, ever second-guess yourself again. Let's get into it.
First things first, let's just address the elephant in the room. As an English speaker, your brain is totally hardwired for a very specific pattern. When you want to talk about the past, you naturally lean on the word have. I have eaten, I have seen, I have gone. So naturally, your intuition just translates that directly into Italian. You want to say I went to the market, so you think I have gone, which comes out as ho andato al mercato. And I want to validate that intuition right now, because honestly, it makes perfect logical sense based on English. But in Italian, it's incorrect. The correct phrase is sono andato al mercato, which to our English brains literally sounds like I am gone to the market. Kind of weird, right? Okay, let's dive into this and rewire how we think about the past tense so you can nail it every single time.
To fix this, we're going to take those huge, confusing academic textbook lists that you try to memorize and inevitably forget, and we're just going to throw them out the window. Instead, we're replacing them with one simple, highly practical golden rule. Whenever you're about to speak in the past tense, I want you to ask yourself just one question. Does this verb have a direct object? In other words, can you ask what immediately after the verb? This single question is your ultimate framework. It's literally the key that unlocks the whole shebang.
Okay, so if the answer to our golden rule question is yes, you're dealing with a transitive verb. A transitive verb is really just an action that transfers over to an object. You did something to something. If you can answer the what, then the verb is transitive, and you will almost always use avere as your helping verb. It really is that straightforward. If there's a clear direct object receiving the action, avere is absolutely your best friend.
Let's look at a couple examples. Take the phrase, ieri ho mangiato la pasta. Yesterday, I ate what? La pasta. Because la pasta perfectly answers our what question, it's the direct object, meaning we use avere, from avere. Similarly, ho scritto una lettera. I wrote what? Una lettera, a letter. Again, we use avere. And notice something super comforting here. When you use avere, the past participle, like mangiato or scritto, keeps its standard o ending. It doesn't change, it's locked in. Easy, right?
But what happens when the answer to our golden rule question is no? What if you literally can't answer what? Well, this brings us to the other side of the rule. If a verb does not take a direct object and instead describes pure movement from one place to another, like going, coming, arriving, leaving, or if it describes a change of state, like being born, becoming, or dying, then you must use essere. These verbs aren't happening to an object, they're just describing a state of being or emotion of the subject itself. Now, what's really interesting about this is how the mechanics change when essere steps into the picture. It becomes a two-step process. Step one, like we just talked about, is identifying that it's a verb of motion or change of state. But step two is the critical pivot. Unlike with avere, when you use essere, the past participle suddenly starts acting like an adjective. And you know Italian, adjectives must agree with the noun they describe. This means the ending of your past participle has to change to match the gender and number of the subject. Let's actually hear the differences makes in practice. Ieri sono andato al cinema. Yesterday, I went to the cinema. Andare is pure movement, triggering essere. Here, the speaker is male, so it's andato. But what if Maria is the subject? Maria è arrivata alle 8. Maria arrived at 8. Arrivare is movement, but because Maria is feminine, the past participle cannot stay as an O. It changes to an A, arrivata. You can really hear the auditory difference when you speak it out loud, andato versus arrivata. Whenever essere is in the driver's seat, the participle absolutely must reflect who is doing the driving. Okay, now, if that felt like a lot to remember, get ready for a major confidence boost, because I'm about to give you the ultimate grammar shortcut. When it comes to reflexive verbs in Italian, they all use essere. Every single one of them. There are absolutely zero exceptions to this rule. If the verb is reflexive, meaning the action reflects back on the subject, which you can usually spot by those little pronouns like me, thee, si, chi, or vi, you instantly know your auxiliary verb is essere. It's pretty much the easiest, most reliable part of the whole past tense system. Think about describing your daily routine. Take the phrase, mi sono svegliato alle 7. I woke up at 7.
Waking yourself up is a reflexive action. That little me at the beginning, that's your flashing neon sign that screams, use essere. So we say mi sono. And remember our rule from just a second ago? Because essere is in play, that past participle has to agree. So a male speaker says mi sono svegliato, and a female speaker would say mi sono svegliata. The logic remains perfectly, beautifully consistent.
All right, we've covered the framework. Let's put your brain to work with a quick mini quiz. How would you translate, yesterday I ate a pizza and then I went to the cinema? I'm going to give you a quiet second to mentally fill in the blanks using our golden rule. Ask yourself about the direct objects and the motion. Ready? And this brilliantly illustrates exactly why our framework is so incredibly powerful. Let's break it down together. For the first action, the answer is unambiguously ho mangiato. Why? We ask our question, I ate what? Una pizza. Clear direct object, so boom, it's avere. But for the second action, andare to the cinema is pure motion. No direct object is even possible there, so it strictly demands sono andato, or if you're a woman, sono andata. No ambiguity, just crystal clear logic. Now, understanding the logic is definitely the breakthrough, but actual conversational fluency requires practice. The source material for this logic comes from the Italian Verbs Workbook collection. It spans 5 comprehensive volumes covering all major tenses, but specifically volumes 4 and 5 are absolute goldmines for what we just covered, offering deep, deep dives into reflexives, essere, and avere. So the crucial point is that bridging the gap between just understanding a rule and actually speaking spontaneously requires repetition. Across these specific volumes, there are 500 practice exercises fully equipped with detailed answer keys. Working through these is exactly how you stop freezing up in conversations to do mental grammar gymnastics. 500 repetitions will literally lock this framework into your permanent memory, for sure. And hey, beyond just drills, engaging with the language through immersive context is totally vital. The resources connected to this explainer actually include a free lesson designed to introduce Italian through a real narrative story, which is a highly engaging way to absorb the grammar naturally without it feeling like a chore. You can find the links to the workbooks and this immersive lesson directly in the resources connected to this explainer. Definitely check that out. So you now have the golden rule. You know when to look for a direct object, when to spot motion or a change of state, and you know the absolute certainty of those reflexive verbs. You are fully equipped to stop second-guessing yourself. So I'll leave you with this final thought. Which Italian adventure will you confidently describe next using the perfect past tense? Get out there, apply the rule, and start speaking. Keep practicing, and I'll see you in the next explainer.